and welcome back to the Real Triathlon Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Lisa Becharas, and currently it's just Nicholas Chase and myself. We're currently waiting on Jackson Laundry to see if he'll pop on, but he might be eating dinner or something. But
He forgot.
He forgot, probably. Thank you guys for being here. We're super excited. This is episode, I don't know, probably number like 20th with me, but probably like 200th and something with everyone else. But it's kind of like the AD, BC, after death, before Christ. So we're in like,
Wait, what?
you know how we like take care
Oh,
of
this is AL after Lisa.
after Lisa.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's BL and AL.
AL. So we're in the AL episodes. So thank you. Welcome. Thank you for being here. As always, if you like this podcast, share with a friend, share with your mom, share with your dad, make your kids listen. We love to hear it. And if you guys want to see anything specific on the podcast, let us know. Drop us a DM.
Any of us or the Real Tri Squad account. And first, a word from our sponsors, Vaseline, because you can never. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. We don't have any sponsors on this episode, and I don't know if we ever will.
But if you would like to become a podcast supporter, I will put my Venmo in the show notes, and you can just Venmo me however much you want every month, and I'll make sure that it goes right back into the podcast production.
I'm sure it will. So, again, we're thrilled you're here. It is currently the 19th of August. Current updates right now. What's happening in my life and your life, Lisa? I'll just go first just because I asked the question. Why not? We just announced our RTS team camp in Cozumel, Mexico. And I do believe the dates are pretty good. I don't remember them, so I'm going to look them up real quick. I think it's the 12th.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12th through the 19th.
Of January.
2026. And I've changed a couple things. Mainly, I've changed one thing. So pricing on the single rate, I've dropped it down to make it more affordable and more in line with the double rate. So if you want your own room, it's not like, oh my gosh, I can't afford that. It's like, yeah, I could probably put an extra $800 in for this trip if I want my own space, my own room. That's what we're up against. But anyways, camp sign-ups on our website. We'll put a link in the show notes. We'll put a link on YouTube. So that's what we're all about right now, as I've just put a lot of work in to get that going.
Seriously? So this is going to be year 3 of the camp, and these have been 2 of my favorite weeks of the year, both years that we've gone. We do this awesome catamaran float around day where we don't really do much triathlon. I think a couple of us did like a easy 30-minute jog the morning up, and then we went and drank pina coladas and hung out on a boat, and it's freaking awesome because it's such a good time of the year too. And both years that I've come in Colorado, it's been like negatives when I've been there. Like, my husband is texting me. He's like, it is like -8 degrees outside and the dog won't go poop outside. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's 85 degrees and I'm complaining about how humid it is. And it's a great problem to have. So anyone is welcome. We swim, we bike, we run. And you don't have to do everything that we do. You can do as much or as little as you want.
True that. I think it's a great way to launch the year. Low pressure. It's like, let's envision your ideal scenario where you get all of your food made for you. You have a great room, an ocean view at every room. You've got great energy, knowledge, and the freedom to do whatever the F you want.
Yeah.
That's it. That's our life.
Amazing. It's a vacation with your friends.
Yeah.
Which is, we don't all get to do that much as we get older, in our older years. But what else?
Yeah, so that's pretty much what we just announced. We will be working on the Enduro coaching website launch in the next few weeks, which should be pretty cool. I've spent a lot of money on this website with our developer, who is actually an athlete we coach also. He's been amazing. He's going to make us shine. So we're going to have a new coaching website for EA coaching, which is going to have it's like under the RTS umbrella. So RTS has our pro athletes. We have our elite amateur athletes with RTS X. And then next year we're launching RTS Racing, which is going to be a pay to play, because apparently that's what everyone really enjoys in this sport, is like, well, I just got to invest something in this in the name of money to feel like I'm part of it. And that's what we've given you the opportunity to do. And it's cheap. And you get like, we're going to do bike frame giveaways. We're going to do wheel giveaways. Everything that's going to be high end. So your $100 for the year is just going to put your name in that bucket to get some really big payoffs if you're lucky.
And you get to be part of an awesome community. And there's nothing better than going to races and seeing so many people race in the same kit that we do. It's super special. Even people I've never met, I'm like, oh my God, who's that person wearing an RTS kit? Like, we should go chat.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
And then I think beyond that, I think this episode in general, we had a couple things we wanted to discuss. A few things, and I think it's a little bit of a tough topic to kind of like put out there because we don't like to talk about negative things, but they do exist. And we're not going to really go down deep into the rabbit hole. But Lisa, this was your idea, so this is all on you. And if you don't like it, you can blame her. But if you do like it, you can blame me because I allowed it.
I was just messaging the group this week on like something we can talk about in the podcast, and something that was front of mind was just the amount of people that have received doping violation in the sport of triathlon. And the crazy part is some people don't know about people that have received some of these bans, or it's not like I've mentioned it. I was like, oh, did you know that this person had like they received a year doping ban? They're like, I have no idea. I'm like, I feel like if you receive a doping ban, it should be known in the sport of triathlon. And you can take that with a grain of salt, whatever you want to. Just be like, all right, that's fine. They did this. That was a mistake, whatever. Or it could be more like the case of Colin Chartier, where he was blatantly doping. It was EPO. He admitted to it. But yeah, I just think it's a conversation that we should have. And I think as professional athletes, the only standpoint that you can have in doping is a harsh standpoint. Like, I think we can forgive people for making mistakes, but I also think that like you have to be very much aligned on like what side of the line you stand on. Like, I'm anti-doping, and I think doping is cheating and stealing, and anyways.
Well,
so I just wanted to talk about it.
This is a fun topic to just discuss and get general opinions on. Like, and not that I'm, hell bent on being swayed one way or the other. I think I'm open, but I share a lot of that with you. Like, you are stealing, you are knowingly committing a problem for your competitors that you supposedly should be caring about for this whole sport. But many people in this sport are very selfish. So I think Lance Armstrong is a place to start, right? Because he changed the face of, wow, this might not be real. Like, if these performances look so good, feel so good, and somebody can be tested to the maximum, like tested all the time, but still beat the system, that's pretty good indication that it's a pretty easy system to get ahead of, especially if you have enough money and resources, right?
Yeah.
And now Lance Armstrong is a very big voice in the name of cycling. He has a show called The Move. Bradley Wiggins is on it. I think also George Hincapie's on it. He rides Ventum. I ride Ventum, so we share a bike partnership. I had a good conversation with Matt McElroy this morning at the pool, because I had just a random topic come up about like, I like that Lance has really good insight on the tour, and his opinions are valid because he lived it and he was part of the bullshit and craziness. However, somebody having that large of a voice with that much influence, having committed such treacherous crimes against cycling, and again, everybody was doing it, right? So did he have to be such a dick? No. So maybe everybody's doing it. Did he have to be such a dick? But should he, like, imagine if Colin Chartier right now was like announcing for T100 and like a commentator. How would you feel about that? Like, that's the same situation, I think, with Lance.
Yeah, and I'd feel really shitty if Colin Chartier was an announcing for the T100. I'll put that out there. But I also have really negative feelings towards Lance. I've watched some of the documentaries about it, and I think it's just about the way that he acted and the way that he tried to hide it and the way that it all came out. And I think that was the most disappointing versus him doing it, if that makes sense.
You're not wrong. I think he ruined a lot of careers. He took a lot of people off their glory days or their opportunities. He killed a lot of opportunities. But the culture at the time seemed like absolutely terrible. I've never experienced a culture like that in our sport where there's a lot. Let's be honest, right, Lisa? Like, we're having a good, transparency communication here. There's a lot of allegations, I think, amongst probably pro triathletes more than age group triathletes, because I think we know each other. We pay more attention to pro triathletes' results, commitments, how they tend to choose races, show up to races, what they're putting out there on social. We kind of notice trends among people. And most importantly, I pay attention to come back after injury, come back after really crazy results. Like if you're like a hero for once a year, if you're only a hero on a couple times a year, but the rest of it you're shit, or you're playing this like sob story, like, I don't know, I'm not necessarily casting a stone of guilt unless there's a reason, but I will pay attention if I do notice some trends that are like, why aren't you this good all the time? Or why are you only good this one time a year consistently? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, yeah, and most of the time I have and will probably always be like suspicious of some people, and I'll share that with my close community, but with nothing to like, I can't be like, oh, I heard this person talking about them shooting up EPO or ordering EPO or something, where I have nothing concrete. But I do think that almost every pro triathlete that I've met will have some suspicions about some other people, because we watch those things.
And it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do, right?
No.
You've got to know someone, have some systems, and be really like dialed in.
Yeah. And you just have to have money too. You have to have a lot of money, a lot of resources. It's just something that, like, I think we're always gonna. I wish I thought that everyone in the sport was clean, but I know that it's not.
We do have to at least not be ignorant. I think that we should always compete and enter every situation with let's go into this race with the best expectation, and then because you don't want to race against people where you're doubting them, and that just takes away from the fun. At the end of the day, this is about you. This is about your journey. Whatever somebody else is going to do, that's on them, right? And they have to atone for that at some point. And I think that these people eventually do get caught in some way, whether it's publicly or they just fade away. I thought, and I am by no means insinuating that anything happened with Annie Haug, but why did she retire out of nowhere?
I think she just had an injury and maybe realized that she's getting up there in age.
It's crazy though. She's amazing. She was her posts were all positive. I don't know.
She was one of the triathletes that had literally one of the smallest presence on social media for how big of a name she was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because she had so much success, she could get away with that, not having a huge social media presence because she lived and breathed triathlon.
It's just nuts that she's just not in the sport anymore. Crazy.
She was so good 2 years ago, 1 year, last year.
Dude, when she ran by me at Roth, I mean I wasn't having a really great day at all, but she ran by me and I was it's she's on springs. She's unstoppable. Yeah. It was incredible. So anyways, I wasn't trying to say anything negative. I just thought it was interesting that people just kind of vanish out of nowhere. And that's kind of why. We don't ever really get the true story. And I feel that's really what sucks. And shouldn't we also give Colin Chartier just a little bit of cred because he came decently clean? Maybe forward. I don't know. I mean, he was caught, and so he was forced to come forward. But at least he admitted it. He wasn't right. I mean, Thomas Hernandez Rodriguez was blaming what he ate, eggs and meat. I mean, I think that was notable from Colin to be look, I was taking EPO. This is how I did it.
Right. Gosh, this is such a hard subject because I think I just take such a jaded perspective.
Yeah, you're go no go, and I'm a little gray area.
I'm I don't know, and it's I can understand and see perspectives from other places. However, Imogen Simmons, she popped positive for Lagandrol in December of 2024, right before the 70.3 Ironman World Championships, where she finished 4th place. And that's apparently still an ongoing investigation, so she has not been able to compete this year. there's radio silence on social media. I don't think there's anyone that knows what's exactly going on. That's besides if you're like in her little group or close camp of people. And she came and she said that it was from bodily fluid from her partner through sexual, sexual things. So
basically like it was in his semen or something like that.
Yeah. Because he had been taking it to improve his physique or his look or whatever. So that's how she claimed that it got into her system. That's an ongoing investigation. Maybe, hopefully by the end of the year, we'll hear something about that. Thomas Hernandez Rodriguez. I don't actually know which comes first.
I don't have it written down, so I'm not going to speculate.
Clomiphene it was found in his system. It was tested in competition in April of 2020.
That was after the Texas race when he won,
yeah.
I think, and beat Langa and all that stuff.
So, and he's coming back next year. He served his 2-year doping ban. He'll be back next year. On his social media, that's what he states his plan to be. Colin Chartier, pop positive for EPO. That was almost 2 or 3 years ago now. I think he said that he has zero plans of ever coming back to the sport, which I think most people would be happy to hear about. A couple other people. Andrew Starkowitz. This is a funny story. Nick, you know Andrew pretty well. Is he competing still?
No, he retired at Roth last year.
Okay.
That was his last race.
So Andrew Starkowitz has kind of one of those, in my opinion, like dumbass bands because he was just kind of a dumbass.
He still earned it. it.
He apparently before a race he was super sick. He got put on a Brio inhaler, and he applied for a TUE before his next race. The TUE was never improved before that race. He was tested after that race. I think he won or finished on the podium or something.
I don't
was
remember.
Tested in competition. I think put down that like, oh, I'm taking this inhaler, tested positive for the inhaler, and then received a 13-month ban. And he was banned through 2021. However, the funny things about this is that the Brio inhaler is no longer on the banned list, so like you can take it.
It's a steroid too.
Is it? I would assume so. Anyways, he received a ban, and then he like hated Ironman. Him and Ironman. He never raced another Ironman branded race again, and went all towards like challenge races. But he kind of just faded into the sunset. But yeah, would say one of those things that was just like, oh, that was pretty dumb because you raced without getting your TUE approved.
Oh man, and he was one of the most like stout advocates against like anybody who had like. There's another guy who at one point received a ban in Germany, Michael Weiss, and whether he was a fall guy or he was whatever, like he was never caught with anything in his system, but his name was found on a list. So who knows, right? He could have just been legitimately a fall guy, or he could have just been taking some stuff and on that list for a reason. But he would always be like, Starkowitz would be like, yeah, it was nice to share a podium with a doper, like if Michael was on the podium with him, and then Starkey gets screwed over by his own thoughts and situations.
It is, and I do think that like that's just some people are like just did things without thinking.
Well, Lauren
Goss, she popped positive for THC. Her excuse, or she claimed that it was in a CBD solve that she used, and she received a 6-month ban. She's never come back to racing professional triathlon after that. She went the running direction. I think, at least for me, Lauren Goss, that case isn't... I think it's just like, oh, you were dumb and you were probably doing too much THC, weed, smoking, whatever. Or maybe it was a ton in the CBD cream. But I don't think THC is performance enhancing. So for me,
I think she gets a pass for me on that one. Like, she could have just taken a gummy like before the race or the night before a race and just needed to take some anxiety out of her. I don't know. Like, that was a good opportunity, in my opinion, to be like, look, mental health issues. I needed to take it. I don't know. I'm not saying this is why she took it. Just if it was, it would have been an opportunity to be like, pro. Talk about some stuff. If you see something, say something. If you need some help.
Like Sha'Carri Richardson, the sprinter, who
her mom died.
Her mom died, and she was taking a bunch of weed or doing THC gummies, whatever. Pop positive before or after sometime like the 2021 Olympics.
Yeah.
And couldn't compete.
She got pulled out midway through the Olympics, I think.
But no, I think it was, or was it during the
trials? Might have been during the trials.
Something like that. But she came out and really spoke about depression and trying to deal with some things.
Yeah. And she's still back at it.
Yep. She's back. Actually, I think she just got a, like she hit her boyfriend or something. So she had a charge of
assault.
Assault.
Trouble.
Man.
Some other names that came up on ChatGPT when I did a search. There was Lisa Maranigan, a 4-year ban for Osterine, also in 2016. I think that was the similar case, like the exact same type of rebuttal also that I think Imogen had.
That she was a banned substance?
Yeah, I think it was the same type of allegations.
No, well, Osterine, I want to come to
different?
Osterine. Osterine is it is different than, I think, the
Imogen Simmons one.
Oh,
wait a second. Let's just quick hit pause here. Jackson, explain yourself.
I've been waiting for you guys to join me in my living room watching Captain America for the last 30 minutes. And that's what I thought today was at 8 o'clock. And then turns out it's actually a podcast. So
You forgot about us on the count of which was it the new Captain America? Because I heard that flopped.
No, it was the original. We're going through watching all the Marvel whatever series. Is it Marvel?
Yeah.
All those from the start because I haven't watched most of them. So,
well, we're talking about dopers.
Yeah.
And we already hit the main offenders that you would already know about. So now you can jump in and feel free to add some light input since you're in the naughty seat for a minute because you're late. Some other triathletes who had some issues. Ashley Paulson, she's like a pink hair, vibrant ultra runner, and she's had a lot of allegations against her in ultra running, even against like GPS files when she like broke some crazy records, even broke Scott Jurick's records. I'm not saying I know anything about her outside of like she's lived in my hometown right when I moved here, and she's always been super kind and bubbly, but she had it overturned, I believe, for like a contaminated substance. So I think she proved that she was innocent. Beth Gerds.
You can't have it overturned. You still have to serve some sort of penalty, but they can say like time served or reduce the penalty, because ultimately you're still responsible for whatever gets in your system.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Beth Gerds was another name that came up, and then
also known as Beth McKenzie to this day. Yeah.
And Lauren Barnett.
And they all tested, Lauren and Beth both tested positive for Osterine again. Lauren Barnett, I remember racing her in like 2018.
I had a crush on her, man. I thought she was beautiful. I was like, this chick is so pretty. Like, I thought she was the most pretty triathlete I've ever seen.
But Lauren, she was able to prove that substance was in a contaminated salt tablet. And so she received a reduced ban of 6 months. Beth McKenzie was unable to prove that she had gotten it in a contaminated supplement, so she served a 2-year doping ban, and then she proceeded to come back racing. There's actually a great Slow Twitch article that she had the opportunity to write, so if you're interested in that story, definitely take a look at it.
What was it about?
It's basically her perspective on the whole situation, everything that she went through. It talks about how in 2018 when she came back to racing, how she felt like everyone took like a very harsh stance, whether like, that was totally a mistake, accident, or like you're a doper. And I think she just never was able to kind of get back to feeling like she could actually race and perform because of the hate that she felt around the community.
Well, I think, Jackson, this is a good time for you to come in and shed some weight. But like, let's say there are these cases of athletes who have like been caught, and it's kind of like irrefutable, or like in these cases that we've just brought up, like what if it was a mistake? Like how terrible would it be? And this is also part of like the judicial system and media. Like the second that your name pops up on any of this, you're just automatically done. You're guilty and you don't have a chance, right? So how do we feel about that?
Well, I think generally I feel this way about any whether it's a doping violation or like allegations of another criminal offense that are unfound or like unproven or untaken to court. You've got to always make sure you only claim to know what you know. So I find it really tough when with these things to ever know what to think, because the person always says they didn't do it on purpose, pretty much. And then some of the time, they're probably telling the truth, potentially a lot of the time. And so it's just really hard to do anything other than like, be skeptical of the person. With a lot of these ones too, like, some of those like hormones and stuff that are like an anabolic agent or whatever that is, it's just not something that's likely that helpful for training anyway. Like we're endurance athletes and like, ultimately it's not like, taking something that's going to like pack on muscle mass is going to be massively helpful for an endurance athlete. Typically, as much as what somebody would take something else would be more helpful. So a lot of the time with those ones, I'm kind of like maybe it was more likely to be an accident, but I just never really know. Like I try not to make up my mind on things too quickly, but with something like EPO, it's like how can you accidentally take that, right? So there's obviously like degrees of freedom here with like, oh, okay, sometimes you can be pretty confident that somebody did something on purpose, or in Colin's case, he admitted it. And sometimes it's like hard to know. Like we did talk to Andrew Starkwick about his situation a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it seems that obviously in that, did you guys go over that case much before I?
We talked. I called it the dumbass situation.
Yeah. So like I don't know how well you guys remember it, but just real quick. We
explained it.
Taking an inhaler. Yeah, he was taking an inhaler, wasn't working. Doctor prescribed him another one. He submitted the TUE asking if he could take it. They took forever to get back to him. Seems like maybe his claim is that there's some intention on, trying to not approve him in order to like get him to race with it. And he decided to race without the approval of the TUE, which is the mistake.
That was the dumbass part.
But then again, in my opinion, the thing that made no sense was that was in like the fall. January of that next year, they said this is no longer banned. So like 2 months later, but then he was serving a ban during that year for taking that when it wasn't banned. Like it didn't really make sense to me. It's like, okay,
if they remove it off the ban list, they should take off that penalty.
Yeah, and they should be like, okay, his result from the race where he tested positive, he didn't receive any of that prize money. His result was removed. Fair. Okay. Then in my view, when they unban it, he should be eligible again. I don't know. Mm-hmm. That was my opinion on that one. That one was sketchy and he made a mistake there for sure, but it's not like, like that they could have easily also approved the TUE. It's kind of a weird situation. But yeah, I think Lisa's synopsis of that was accurate. Yeah, and then did you guys mention Lance Armstrong? I mean, obviously,
we opened with that one basically.
You were at a race he did. I didn't know that.
So when Lance was still allowed to race outside of cycling, he did a couple triathlon events. He went to Haines City 70.3, and I saw him come out of the water. Like I had never seen so many crowds. It was like 10 people deep just to watch Lance race. Like. It's so unfortunate that he had such that stigma, because he could have done a lot to put our sport on the map and help us out.
Yeah. He really, honestly, I just want to know how good he would have been without the steroids, not the doping.
Well, he was a triathlete before
I mean, and he was
I don't know.
very good.
Yeah, like presumably when he was like an 18-year-old triathlete, he probably wasn't doping. I mean, that's just my guess because it was like the team doctor. You have all the knowledge. Okay, now let's do it, kind of thing. Don't condone it or anything. I'm just saying probably he was clean when he was a triathlete when he was young, and he was super good.
Yeah.
But yeah, would have been cool if he just stuck with triathlon and clean, and who knows what would have happened. But yeah, I think generally, we have a pretty clean sport. There's probably some high-level organized things going on with, just like there was in the Tour de France for years, where the people with the resources and the ability and the sort of some of the, the knowledge to be able to stay ahead. The thing is, there's probably things going on that aren't technically banned because they can't test for it. My thoughts are like the incentive to cheat is always going to be in advance of the incentive to be able to catch the people, because how can you test for something if you don't know it exists yet to be able to prevent it? So it's hard to think that there's not something going on somewhere in the sport, but I think overall we have a pretty clean sport.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Lisa.
No, I was just saying, Nick and I were talking about this earlier, and I said that I wish I knew it was 100% clean, but I know that it's not 100% clean. But I think it is closer to 100% than a lot of other sports.
This Tour de France blew me away. Like, I almost didn't really enjoy watching this Tour de France. Not because, I'm an athlete. I've been around. I've watched this sport I've watched cycling probably for 12 to 13 years, year after year. And I don't know why, but I just feel like what the performance Tadej Pogačar put on this year, beating the best in class of almost sprinters, climbers, literally everybody ever by a large margin. It's scary how crazy good he is by his own means or by some other crazy thing. And I think it would just destroy the sport if any of that stuff ever came out, which if it was real, that's amazing. But if it's not, I don't think it would ever come out anyways, because it would just be cycling is ruined again. We can't let that happen. I don't know. Was. I had mixed feelings about it, and not to obviously a lot of hard work, a lot of credibility just to get to that point. But man, his talent or whatever's going on there, even if it's substances that are legal, crazy access to it.
Yeah, well, he's obviously performing exceptionally well, and the thing is, although it looks like he's head and shoulders above everybody else, if you look at the percentages, it's it's not actually that much. It's pretty close, and so it's possible they all are clean, or possible they all aren't. Who knows? Yeah. It seems crazy to think about the numbers that are happening. There's speculation of that uphill time trial that was low 20 minutes time frame, above total threshold time. Effort, and that it was over 7 watts per kilogram, I think. Let me just ask AI to find what it was.
Well, if you look at triathletes, right? We're probably can't fathom the solo individual sport differences, because we're we know how hard it is to swim what we swim, bike what we bike, and run what we run with this level of training. But imagine if you were a solo sport only swimmer, biker, or runner. Look at the best swim times. They are another 20% faster than us. The marathon times near 2 hours, and we're cracking 2:30s now. So
yeah, but I've heard speculation that the top triathletes are pretty much on par over the long time trial type efforts. The estimated watts per kilogram were 7.1 watts per kilogram for the what was it?
For one of those
how long was
mountain stages or the time trial? That was a short time trial.
So 23 minutes. So let's just do the numbers. So he was 65 kilograms. So if I was to do 7.1, I'm about 71 kilograms.
So 500 watts?
504 watts I'd have to do for 23 minutes.
You can't
So
do
to
that?
put it into perspective, I think an all-out 23 minutes up a hill on a road bike, I maybe could do 100 watts less than that. Maybe 404 would be like a super good, like, that'd be like, boom, I nailed it. So
Yeah.
I bet you could do 404.
Yeah, so I would have had to do 504. But that's to be the best of the Tour de France. You know what I mean? But they're doing it in the middle of a Tour de France. It's not like he's tapering for 3 days to smash a 20-minute test. So presumably he could go even better if it was that. So
well,
anyway, yeah, it's wild to see. It's like it's hard to fathom that, but like
I mean, if you think about elite marathon times, like running 4:30-minute miles for 26 miles, like that's hard for me to fathom. Like that's so fast. So it's equal.
The thing for me about running that becomes more like, it becomes easier for me to like fathom how they could do that is like the physical differences between a marathon runner and like just me myself are so much.
Yeah, you're right.
Whereas for me to a cyclist, it's not that much. Like I'm basically, we're more or less built like cyclists. We train the bike the most. It's the closest, like it's the longest portion of our race, so it gets the most attention. Like, you know,
we just have bigger lats and biceps.
I got long arms in ratio to my height. Someone told me. I was like, you're right. I guess my long arms are a bit lanky.
Good for swimming. But yeah, like realistically, if we were cyclists, we'd probably lose like 5 pounds to 8 pounds of upper body muscle or something like that. And the rest maybe gain a couple pounds in the legs. And that would be the only
their
difference.
biceps are like as big as my wrist.
Some of them are real skinny in the upper body. It's pretty incredible. I heard a rumor that like maybe it was Chris Froome or some of these guys, like when they were training for the Tour de France and like trying to get their weight to where they wanted it, they wouldn't carry anything. Like they wouldn't, like they would just totally try to emaciate their upper bodies, and they would just try to not use those muscles as much as possible. Like have someone else carry your freaking.
They're just being like 2 splints. Like I can't even let my arms drop. I can't carry my arms.
It would probably work for the Tour de France. It's crazy to think about. I'm actually Tour de France. I'm going through all the old Tour de France's now, and just watching the stage summaries just while I'm riding. It's such a good way to pass the time on the bike.
So was watching our podcast.
You could also, or just ride your bike outside. It's a great way to experience life.
He doesn't live in a good outside riding environment.
Yeah.
Not even like one road. You don't have like one stretch, one loop.
He has one. That's it.
I could make the loops happen, but like they're still not good. It's not as good as a trainer, which my trainer died this week.
I saw that on Instagram.
So
I'm not surprised.
Post was that the last part of the ride, I was like, maybe I'll just get the road bike. But it was like 6 p.m. and I took the only trainer that I had was like would only work for a skewer, like an old bike, whatever. So I took Livia's her trainer, which is a wheel-on kicker snap, and I put my commuter bike on it, and I rode my last hour, including 45 minutes like tempo or like steady, like 280 watts on that. No cycling shoes, just pushing on the freaking running shoes.
Hey, that's why you win races, man. That's why the commitment is fierce. Yeah. But real quick, back to some of the legal, non-banned substances that you can take, no trouble. Sodium bicarb, caffeine, nitrates, like
sodium bicarb would be good for a 23-minute time trial, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Creatine.
Creatine.
Beta-alanine, but you have to take beta-alanine and build it up over the course of like 3 weeks. L-citrulline and L-arginine, which those are new ones to me. Potential vasodilation and performance boosts.
Those are just amino acids, aren't they?
Yeah. They're in so many amino acid like blends. Like Guroctane has those in
arginine for sure.
Packs. Yeah.
Ketone esters, taurine, adaptogens like rhodiola rosea and ashwagandha. You know, like if you look at my supplement cabinet right now, I've got most of this shit.
Yeah.
Beta-alanine, rhodiola, and whatever other one you just mentioned are all
ashwagandha.
In ashwagandha. Those are all in Optogen, which I've been taking forever. Phosphatidic acid, which may support the mTOR pathway in recovery.
more for strength training. But anyways, but they've also said that there's some stuff that's close to the edge. And I've actually looked it up. Like there's a peptide called BPC 157 and TB-500, which is like a peptide that goes straight into your, they like usually inject it into your muscle site, and it just immediately like heals that tissue. It's amazing from what the age group athletes I know who use it. But then there's other stuff like TUEs for asthma, salbutamol. Those are allowed for TUEs. TUEs are another thing I think we should talk about.
It's sketchy. Well, the one thing that surprises me is how many things you can take without a TUE. Because
what do you mean?
Like most inhalers you can just take.
Yeah, and they have the steroids in them.
Like albuterol? Yeah. Can you just take albuterol?
You can take albuterol now, I think.
You can do like up to a certain amount of puffs per hour.
Should we all just be puffing albuterol?
I mean, I don't know. I do have like some environmental asthma, especially if like it's bad air quality. I'll start wheezing and hacking stuff up. But I don't have an inhaler. But anytime I've used an inhaler when I was a kid, it just made my heart rate race. Like I couldn't have done well with it.
That's what, like Sudafed. If you've ever taken Sudafed when you're super sick, it's banned in competition, but you can take it like when you're not competing. Mm-hmm. If I've ever taken that, it makes my heart race. I'm like, I would hate that feeling if I were to take that in a competition.
So inhalers, albuterol allowed within range, clenbuterol not allowed.
Yeah, because that's like a really strong steroid.
And you can't get a TUE, so that one's probably the steroid one. But yeah, definitely check anything you take. But the other ones like that are allowed, legit, are like painkillers. You can take pretty heavy painkillers. You used to be able to take tramadol.
Yeah, they used to have tramadol in bottles in the Tour de France. They would like hand them up in bottles, and they would drink
probably.
them.
I mean,
like a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Well, tramadol is what the painkiller they gave me when I smashed my shoulder to pieces in France. And I was like worried about it. I'm like, is this allowed? Obviously, I wasn't racing, but I was wondering if it maybe wasn't even allowed out of competition. And I look it up, and it turns out it's allowed in competition. And I'm like, this is literally like the second strongest painkiller you can basically get outside of like Percocet or whatever, oxycodone.
There's like 3 other inhalers too: formoterol, salmeterol, and levabuterol. Those are all not. They all have limits, so they're not. You don't need a TUE if you're within the limits.
Huh. It is interesting, like from like the injectable steroids standpoint, like the corticosteroids, like the cortisone. If you get injured,
ones, mm-hmm. I looked.
Can't do those either.
You can't do those in competition. You have to have like a washout period.
10 days? I've never done it because I was looking into it when I had a lot of tendon inflammation in my shoulders. I'm like, how am I gonna get these things fine? I was like, is this allowed? And it's like, yeah, it's allowed up to like 10 days before it'll wash out. But then it's like, it's also not really good for you because it weakens the tendons over time.
Well, your keloid on your back from your scarring, it'll get rid of that.
Cortisone?
That would get rid of it?
Yeah, if you took a cortisone. Yeah, if you wanted to get rid of that, my buddy's a dermatologist. He's like, yeah, we could get rid of that. Like, it would go down immediately. But you'd have to take that steroid.
But the cortisone it's like I've had cortisone injections in my like in my knee and my plantar fasciitis. Would not recommend the plantar fasciitis at all.
Ooh, doesn't really work there.
No, and it's because it's it's fascia tendony area. Like it makes it way more susceptible for rupture in the future. But there are some places that cortisone is definitely not as dangerous. Like usually not the hip. Depending if your knees look good or not. But you do have to do that washout period, which you didn't used to have to do. You used to be able to, I think it was not banned in competition, but they're probably doing that. I don't think it's like very performance enhancing.
It's not. I looked into it because I was considering it, and it's local completely. It has no systemic effects, so it doesn't affect your heart, whatever.
I think it was one more of those things where WADA was like, oh, we're going to do this to more protect athletes from themselves. So they're not going to be like, oh, I can compete. Let me just like inject me with like a steroid in my shoulder so I can swim. They're probably like, ooh, maybe that's not good for your overall health. because I think a lot of those things are put in place for that purpose as well.
You know that you can, with a TUE, you can take prednisone or dexamethasone, which are like good for inflammation, asthma, autoimmune diseases. They reduce inflammation. You can take albuterol, salmeterol. Those are beta-2 agonists up to thresholds. Like there's a lot of things, even stimulants, Adderall and Ritalin. Those are like
focus drugs.
Amphetamine type drugs. There's weird shit you can like, it's not, no TUE required. Wow. Except testosterone and HGH. Those TUEs are extremely rare apparently.
Thank God.
Rare, but I don't think impossible. I've heard of testosterone, but
I think most athletes most triathletes and endurance athletes I've seen have gotten a pretty good handle on how to keep their testosterone levels high just with good rest and diet.
Yeah.
Sleep.
If you're not resting enough or eating enough, then it'll get low. But
well, anyways, guys, we don't need to talk about drugs.
Well, that was fun.
But I think it's good to like bring up, occasionally, and educate ourselves too, because I feel like I learned a little bit during this little chat as well.
Yeah, like how people normally will lift up a rug and brush things under the rug. We just lifted up the rug and we were like, "Hey, what's under that rug? Let's just, for example, let's see what's under that rug." And we know.
Anyways,
well,
we should rip on Mark some
questions
more.
Last week, should we go over a couple of those? There was one I asked that I felt bad about.
Okay,
well, you start then.
Question.
Mine was someone who's looking for tips, who's a fairly new swimmer, and they're not really comfortable in the open water, and what's a good thing that they can do to improve that?
Overcoming swim anxiety for new swimmers. That's a good one. I think I can talk to that after. Especially. Does anyone else want to go first? Otherwise, I'm happy to jump on her.
You just give it. You've coached a lot of people through it.
I struggle with this one.
What I've noticed that triggers a lot of it for people is not being able to see the bottom, right? They put their face in the water and they can't see. And so all of these like drowning situations, or if they've had post-traumatic stress with water before, maybe they've had a bad example of water safety at some point. So those are things that are like immediately fight or flight triggering. And so what happens typically, if you're in that situation, you start to feel that little tension in your chest, that anxiety build up as you're getting into the water. But you don't have to do what everybody else is doing who is super comfortable, right? So they're all going to just head out to like where they can't touch and where they're just all in a group, whatever. You can take baby steps. You can just put your face in the water, blow bubbles, get yourself used to that surroundings, just not being able to see, taking some breaths to kind of calm the heart rate before you get in there. And then also you can swim just along the shore, right where you can stand up the whole time, taking like 30 to 50 strokes, counting your strokes, doing anything logically based to where you're counting, or you have a mantra, or you're focusing on things that you can control versus the emotions that are running wild. Those are good ways that you can take advantage of overcoming the fight or flight mechanisms, which is that's what we're doing. We're trying to turn that off because there's a little chimpanzee inside your brain that's like, shit, we're about to die. And then there's like a really smart part of your brain that's like, well, based on logic and everything else, we have air and oxygen, we can float and swim, we're fine. And so you've just got to turn off the chimpanzee by doing things that are logical and things that are facts-based. And so you got to eventually step those things down by baby steps, not just sending it and then having a panic attack, but like getting to the point to where you're just about to have that symptom, and then you just push through for like 10 seconds, and then you stand up, you touch the ground, and then you catch your breath, and you do that over and over again. And then you eventually push those barriers and have some flotation around you, have some people take care of you. Sometimes those foam goggles, I've heard, because they put a heads-up display, and they kind of like give you something to look at when you're swimming. That helps people not focus on the emotional response. So again, logic. And so that's kind of like where I would start right there. And you guys probably have some good quips too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I have any as good as yours. But I can't speak
really
to an
good for someone
experience.
who's super like nervous about the water.
Mm-hmm.
And then once somebody who like, let's say they get past that point and they're like, okay, I'm pretty comfortable, I can swim now. Like, what would be one for like trying to translate a little bit more of their swimming from the pool into being able to actually race well. So like practicing sighting, of course, practicing drafting, doing that with friends. And I would say doing a little bit once you're like ready for it of like, okay, we're all going to sort of start at the same time. There's people around. Like you've got to be able to hold your stroke in a little bit of that stressful situation. And then, yeah, the sighting's huge. And just strategy of like taking a good line around the buoys, but also like if it's super congested and you know that's a situation that's going to stress you out, it's not going to add much time to move over 10 meters and just swim on a little bit more of an outside line to get yourself that sort of more comfortable situation if you need to.
I think the biggest thing people screw up is they do not take advantage of tough conditions during training, and they just expect race day to be like, oh, it's going to be flat and easy. And so what I would do, at least I'll give you a second after this example, is when I lived in Florida, and Jackson experienced this before St. Anthony's one time. There was like a tropical storm that rolled in, and like 3 days afterwards,
ocean and did a swim. It was
a couple days after that. I mean, the swells were big, but there wasn't crazy undertow, and we were just kind of like, it throws off your rhythm. You've got to sight differently. You're getting tossed around just a little bit. But if you don't put yourself, I was loving my life, man. I love some chop. Yeah, it's the first time I saw Jackson like just thrash in the water and throwing a tantrum. It was the funniest thing.
I was so mad. I couldn't even get a stroke in. I'm like, you start to do a stroke, then the water would just disappear under you. It'd be like, what happened? But then 2 days later, we had a great race, and I swam well.
Yeah. So I think that's it. Like you have to carefully and cautiously put yourself in a situation where you're going to overstress yourself and make yourself have to adapt to something, because that's the biggest issue in our sport is lack of confidence in swimming, and the only way to gain confidence in swimming is to feather in a level of stress, right?
Yeah. I will say I think that is something that I struggle with still, not like the freaking out standpoint, but like swimming in choppy water. I get so frustrated because like Jackson, I'm like, I can't pull the water. I like always mistime it. So the more that you can do it, I think the better that you're going to get at it. I will say an experience, I've never personally have had a freak out in like open water swimming before, like in a race situation. But I was guiding for a visually impaired athlete last year. We were in Spain. It was the day before our first race together, and we were doing an open water swim. It was the afternoon, and we're going out there, and it's like pretty choppy, pretty wavy. And this is like a blind person. She can't see the water. She doesn't know when to time. She relies on me to.
So challenging.
Yes, and we spent probably like 30 minutes because she was having like anxiety trying to put her face putting her face in the water, because you have no idea when the wave is going to come or when you're going to be able to breathe and swallow water. So I got to experience that from her standpoint, like being there, and I'm like, okay, you just need to calm, you need to breathe, let's practice blowing bubbles, let's dip our head under the water type of thing. So anyways, putting more things into perspective, at least we can like see and stand up and like tread water. Yeah, just I don't know. And then I was like, oh my gosh, people who can't see that are visually impaired are like so much braver than we are.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, that's a great story, because obviously anxiety into the water is super legitimate, but if you have good vision, and you'll be able to do it, because if someone who's visually impaired can do it, then you will be able to do it if you put the time in and you work on it. It will be doable.
Yeah, crippling anxiety is real, but in very small doses with good mentorship and good people and good energy around you, like you can overcome all this and you can own it. And that's what it's all about in the sport. I mean, how scary is it when you are, pro athletes are the only ones who get to experience it right now, is the mass start. And sometimes it's just an absolute slugfest, but we're used to that. And some age group athletes, like they get touched and they just freak out. So I think simulating that in the water is some of the most vital. Swimming around others in close proximity to where you're going to touch, you're going to have to be lightly just jumbled, not necessarily kicked in the face or anything, but if you're sighting well enough, you can always avoid a kick to the face. Because if you sight, you can see the bubbles coming, or the splashes coming at you. And if like everyone, and this is the pool, when I coach swimming in the pool, everyone gets so focused on looking straight down at the bottom of the pool, they forget to like use their eyes and just glance up and see what their hands are doing, or glance up and see what's coming at them. Like situational awareness is going to make you a better overall athlete.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, we nailed that question. I think we dominated it.
Yeah, I'd say so. Any other
an athlete
one we missed?
An athlete last week I coach brought it up, and we didn't get to it either. But he said, like, which workouts would we recommend, like, fasting? Some athletes have the stomach issues, or some athletes I coach, we have to really help them eat before they train. I will do some fasted workouts when I know that I'm going to fuel within the first 10 or 15 minutes. But if it's like a big bike ride, or if I've got a 5 to 6 hour training day, like, I'm going to have a big breakfast no matter what. And some athletes still will start that workout fasted, and then they'll just bonk or suffer. So in your guys' opinions, like, when would you consider a fasted workout versus when you wouldn't? And you were pro athlete, so you do this all the time.
I personally would never consider a fasted workout. I always eat. I always have fuel in my system. I think it's super important to not only make the workout quality, but also to help recovery in between sessions and in between days.
What would you eat on, like, certain? Give us, like, 2 scenarios, like a type of fuel that's maybe bigger and a type of fuel that's maybe smaller.
The morning workout, right?
Yeah.
So wake up, first workout of the day. What are you doing? Big breakfast?
What I do, I right when I wake up, I walk the dog, feed the dog, then I eat breakfast. Coffee, creamer, little yogurt, 10 grams of protein I've started to get because I'm on a protein diet, and a English muffin with butter. And I probably should eat more.
Well, I mean,
that's all I can stomach in the morning.
Yeah, and if that's what you're starting with, like, that's great training. Like, you're training your stomach to be able to handle it. So that's a good start. And especially if you're going to eat more during your workouts, like, once you get to that 100 grams an hour situation, like, that's still good.
Yeah. So that's what I do pretty much every day.
What about a bigger day? Like, if you got a big bike ride, does that change?
Usually I'll try to eat another big thing of, like, carbohydrates. Usually like a donut.
Okay, good. Yeah, rocket fuel. What about you, Jack? Granola bars, 10 of them?
No, I've gotten a little better at eating more for breakfast. So usually 2 eggs. I make bread, like just white bread in the bread maker, and I'll have like a pretty thick slice of that with some butter and jam. And often I'll do a glass of orange juice as well, or like a smoothie. So I've been doing decent on that. And then lately, a lot of my days I haven't started my first workout till like 11 because the pool opens at 11. I haven't really been running. So
that's AIDS.
It's kind of tough because, like, I could sometimes I'll do a bike first, but then you're trying to do a bike, then get to the pool. It's 11 to 1 slot.
That's why you bike at 6, man.
Anyways, but usually when I'm running, I will do like an easy run or something in the morning, or at least an easy bike, and then I'll go to the pool. But since I have been doing other things in the morning, like getting some work done or whatever, I've often been eating again before that 11 o'clock swim. I'll eat at like 10. I'll have not too much, but like some carbs and maybe a little bit more protein to make sure I'm getting the recovery in. And then I'll go do the swim, and then from there it takes off. But as far as faster workouts go, I've never tried it. Anytime I've come close to like glycogen depletion, like it's not something my body can handle at all. Like today I had not a huge training day, but a decent amount. And on the strength session at the end of the day, I like started feeling the bonk coming, and I went inside and ate 3 granola bars dipped in Nutella. And and I got through it. So it's like, it's just, I think for some athletes it can work if you're not training a huge amount mainly. Like the thing is just if you're trying to perform, if you're trying to do well in your age group and you're pushing yourself and you're training anything over like 12 hours a week, I wouldn't consider doing a fasted session myself, unless it's like you wake up in the morning and you just do like a little run or something, like a easy 30-minute run or something. You can probably do that. When I am running, sometimes I'll get up and just have like a granola bar or 2, just like a little bit in my stomach, do a little small run, and then I'll have my breakfast. So it's not really fasted, but I probably could do it fasted, essentially.
And breaking a fast is just like toast and jam or toast and butter or a yogurt. Like, it's not a big meal. I think that's what athletes are getting a little confused by, is they're like, well, how do I eat breakfast and then go run after I've had a big bowl of oatmeal? It's like, you don't have to eat a lot. You just need to eat enough to get your metabolism going, your blood sugar is starting to get up, and then your body's going to start processing immediately. Then you take some fuel during the session.
Yeah, like a granola bar. It's better than nothing. Eat a granola bar. Eat a piece of toast.
And you have to, the biggest thing I've noticed with athletes who have an issue with it is they feel nauseous. They feel badly when they are eating these things. And I think that's because they're not used to it. Their stomach's not used to it. Their mind and body aren't really in tune with it. And so you have to start that habit. And the only way to start that habit is to just be uncomfortable until it stops. Like, and then I eat breakfast. Then I don't have a problem. I was a problem. I've done so many fasted workouts. I don't even know how many. Thousands and thousands of fasted workouts. Usually they're run workouts. Any run workout, I'm fasted except for coffee, and then I take a bunch of gels during it. So I'm a different type of athlete on that. It's probably why I peaked a couple years ago and haven't really gotten better. But I would say that for all my bike rides, all my key sessions, I do never, like, I don't know. One of the biggest problems I think I've had in swimming is I'll never have anything during a swim. Even like a 5K swim, I won't take a sip of water. Nothing.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I never did. I never needed it. I will get through a 5K swim with intensity, with threshold, and I won't do anything but lick my lips. Like, I'm not eating anything, but I will now take like 60 to 80 grams of carbs in a bottle of sodium, and my performances feel the same. They're probably a little bit better, sustainable, but also my recovery afterwards. Afterwards is the key, and that's really why I balance it now, because I know I can get through it. And I know I can perform well, but I don't want to be starving and angry and breaking down afterwards.
Yeah. I think, well, I want to touch on that too with the swimming. I think swimming in the freaking summer, or just in general when it's not the first thing you do, is the hardest thing for people who didn't grow up swimming the whole time. Because I get in the water after I do a bike workout, after a run workout, I'm worthless. But if I start taking a protein shake like right after that bike or run workout, go to the pool, down like a gram of sodium, and then take an extra like 75 grams of carbohydrates in a bottle, like, I can survive. Not thriving, but I can survive. I don't have to put on the floaty shorts and every piece of equipment.
Swimming after any type of hard workout.
Oh gosh.
I just think it's mostly awful. Counterproductive. Like, it's so.
You got to give yourself like 4 hours.
Yeah, it's so tough.
That's why in the summer I become like an extra bad swimmer, because I'm prioritizing doing my bike workouts and run workouts in the morning when it's like cooler, and then swimming in the afternoon when it's crazy hot.
Is the temperature inside your house is probably about the same when it's hot out. So just do your bike workouts on the frickin' trainer.
Never.
All right. Well, we're at an hour and 2 minutes. I think we'll wrap this one up. I think we got a good amount of questions. We talked a lot about different situations. Nothing really too
MIA. Watching Captain America. My bad. Hand up accountability. That's me.
We forgive you, bud. We're glad you came. And again, thank you so much for listening. Like, we promise, if you're a regular listener to this podcast, we will always do our best to entertain you and bring about really good topics that you can gossip with your friends about, or stuff that pro athletes do that you didn't know, or handling things like advice we just gave. I think that's the best thing about this community, is we're all just super open to sharing our accountability pathways and just giving each other a hard time, because if you can't laugh and shoot the shit and make fun of each other for just being yourself, then we're not very good friends. You gotta be made fun of just for about everything.
You do.
Yeah, they're old timer. You got the knowledge to tell us.
Yes, I do. And the next race we're going to, Jackson, we don't think you should go. 70.3 Santa Cruz. We'll be there. Jackson, don't go.
Right.
Don't go. You're uninvited.
Without me.
We just don't want you to risk re-injure, even if it's worth a couple dollars.
Yeah, but what if you guys aren't my freaking doctor? What do you know?
We're your friends.
We're longevity friends.
Yeah, but you guys don't even know what is going on? You're just like going by feelings.
We just know that.
We just know.
We know you.
We know you.
When have I ever gotten an injury and then re-injured it?
I don't know. You're on Cody deals all the time, though.
But I've never re-injured one before, ever.
Okay, well, make my words. You'll be all right then. Come on out.
I don't know if I'll be racing or not. That's the whole thing. That's why I might be, because I'm not deciding, yes, I'm going to race, and then being like, oh, I'm not ready to race, but I decided I was going to race. So if I don't decide, then I can see if I'm actually ready or not, and then decide.
That is true.
You can go to Augusta. That's real close.
That's what
I'm
I'm
definitely
saying.
going to Augusta. The problem is
we're having a girls'
a redo.
Santa Cruz is a beautiful climate. It's 15 degrees Celsius in the morning, 20 maybe by the end of the race, barely. It's nice, calm winds, not going to freak me out on any downhills.
That wind
beautiful
is
highways.
There's a sea breeze.
Oh my God, that wind on that course on the way back can be absolutely savageness. I hope it is. The year I raced there, I was like tucked in an arrow, just going nowhere, killing myself. My back was about in a bag afterwards because I couldn't even use it. It was ruined.
You can get up to like, there's a couple descents where I like hit over 50 miles an hour, and I was like, whoa, that was fast.
You're on MV wheels, so you're safe.
Safe. Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's where we'll be. Thanks for coming on board there today, folks. And next episode, we'll probably do something better.
Silly. We'll do something silly.
Yeah. All right. Peace out. Right?
Peace
out.
out.